I'm Patrick Watson, I'm an astrologer, and you're watching Big Fat Astrovlog, and today I'm going to be delivering a monthly horoscope for all Aries risings for the month of August 2018, and that's not Aries suns. So this horoscope only applies if you were born when the tropical sign of Aries was rising on the eastern horizon at the time and place of your birth. So if you're not sure what rising sign you are, you should get your birth date, birth time, birthplace, go to www.astro.com and put in the chart details, and you should find out what rising sign you are. So here's kind of what I've noticed, the major things I've noticed for all Aries risings for the month of August 2018. So the first kind of big thing that happens in the month is a solar eclipse on August 11th. So I'm going to zoom ahead here to August 11th, and so we can see the sun here. I put the glyphs here in case you aren't familiar with what the glyphs mean. So that thing is the sun, and this little moon-shaped thing is the moon. And we can see that they are in the sign of Leo, and the moon and the sun are coming together. Now, because they're within a certain distance of the north node, the intersection point, that means that we get a solar eclipse. So this solar eclipse is happening in Leo at 18 degrees of Leo, and for all Aries risings, by whole sign houses, it's going to pertain to the topics of fun, pleasure, entertainment, children, creations, creativity. So usually with eclipses, it usually begins like a year-long narrative associated with the topic of the house that it falls in. So for you, it's going to have some relevance for the topic of children, as well as fun and recreation and pleasure and that sort of thing. So it could be a new creative endeavor. It could be a new role you take on where you're in more contact with children. It could be a new creative project. So that's what it will be about. And of course, depending on what planets are in your natal chart, if you have planets in Leo, then depending on the nature of those planets, and that may also tell you a bit about what that eclipse will be about for you. Now, an important thing to acknowledge with this particular eclipse is we can also see that Mercury is also close to that eclipse, and it's also retrograde, meaning it's appearing to move backward in the sky because of its relative speed of the Earth, and that's when Mercury is coming between the Sun and the Earth. So that Mercury retrogrades are kind of stereotypically associated with miscommunications, schedule mishaps, do-overs, wrong place, wrong time, technology going haywire, things getting broken, that kind of thing. Mercury is kind of a trickster. Mercury's kind of an ass, kind of a troll. So Mercury likes to kind of keep things unsettled. So in this time, since it's happening in the sign of your fifth house, as an Aries rising, Mercury's retrograde will likely pertain to some question or something you're kind of vacillating between, something you're trying to decide one way or the other regarding something about fun, pleasure, entertainment, children, creation. So this could be like a period of research for you, or just jotting down your ideas about something you want to make or something you want to do. Or it could also be kind of frustrating times trying to schedule something fun to do with, friends or romantic partners or whatever. Maybe it's like, oh, let's go to the movies. Oh, that movie's not showing, or we got the wrong day, or and then you end up doing something else that's kind of fun. I mean, that's the sort of thing that you sort of expect from Mercury in the fifth. But the fact that it's happening so close to the eclipse suggests that perhaps you're there's some opportunity that's being presented that you're having to really think about and go over and weigh the pros and cons of. And, while you're still in the middle of kind of deciding, this kind of more momentous or more major narrative is starting, regardless of what you think about it. So that's kind of what's happening with the eclipse and the Mercury retrograde in Leo. And that Mercury retrograde ends on I think it's August 19th. So Mercury finally kind of stations direct, and that's kind of when things should start moving forward. The Mercury retrograde period is usually like a period of kind of reevaluation and going over old things again. So From the beginning of August through to August 19th, that's the Mercury retrograde period. The next thing you should know about is at the beginning of the month, Venus is in late Virgo. So Venus will be in your 6th house of illness, injury, employment, things you kind of avoid. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be sick or something. I'm just saying that Venus's movement from the 6th house into your 7th house on August 7th, see, now it's in Libra, is going to be a little bit of a slight shift with regard to Venus, where instead of having pleasant times, I guess, at work or in doing your errands or doing things you kind of have to do, then once it moves into Libra on August 7th, then Venus is in a much nicer sign. It's in one of its own signs, and it's in a place where it can create nice social interactions and social relations with partners, people you're partnered with. So if you're already with someone, then this could be like a really nice time to kind of connect and kind of get back together on a more intimate level. But then for people who maybe are single, like this might be a time you like meet someone, have a really nice time like finding someone to date. Or if you want to be single, then this applies to all kinds of partnerships, whoever you're kind of partnered with. So I mean, in some ways, that could even be like, roommates or business partners, people who you have to kind of rely on and balance with. And if you don't have anyone like that in your life, then I guess lucky you. I don't know. So that's kind of what Venus will suggest while it's going through your 7th house there of relationships and compromises and to some degree frenemies, the people you have to kind of balance with. So, the next big thing you should know about is Mars is actually doing some very interesting things these days. So we're going to go back to the beginning of the month. All right, so at the beginning of the month, Mars is retrograde in Aquarius. That's where it's been for the past few months. And Mars kind of likes to tear it up wherever it goes in your chart. And so that's doubly so when it's retrograde. It's very bright and it's really, trying to say something. So Mars tends to sever, tends to cut away. So it tends to cause consternation and is coincident with divisions and bold actions and conflicts. So for you, this would have been happening in a part of your life associated with organizations, networks, acquaintances, especially friends in high places or people who assist you in what you do, like, I know, your professional references, as it were. So that's what Mars has been doing for the past few months, but as it goes retrograde through the month of August, on August 13th, it moves back into your 10th house of career and reputation and bosses, authority figures, your calling, your sort of public life. So Mars going back into that part of your chart, retrograde, suggests that this could be a time when you take some bold actions with regard to your career. You make maybe some consequential decisions that maybe don't sit well with everyone. With Mars stationing direct just maybe about a couple of weeks or so later, on August 28th is when Mars stations direct. See how it changed from red to black. That means it's going direct. So Mars going direct in your 10th house is almost like, this could be a time when you kind of like stick it to the boss, and you're kind of like, I'm out of here, because Mars is severing. Mars doesn't care if anyone else likes Mars. So, especially since you were born with Aries rising, that means Mars, in some general universal sense, kind of represents you. Like, whatever Mars does is somehow reflective of what you're kind of doing. So I'd imagine, with your ascendant ruler in the 10th house, stationing direct in the sign of its exaltation, is going to be making kind of a dramatic statement about like what you don't want to do and who you are going to be, regardless of what anyone else thinks about it. And that is the last thing I had to say for August 2018. So if you'd like to see more of these horoscopes for next month, just make sure you like it, give me nice comments, and share it. And if you're really awesome, please support me on Patreon, even if it's just $1. I really appreciate it. The links are going to be all over the place probably right now, and they'll be in the description as well. And if you're interested to see what I have to say about your specific chart, not just what your ascendant is, I do offer services on my website if you go to www.bigfatastro.com. And I also am selling I'm selling a natal horoscope report. So I wrote up interpretations of every planet and every sign, house, and aspect combination. So, if you want to see what I would say about your chart on a budget, that's only $20. So just give it a look at www.bigfatastro.com. All right, guys, hope you have a good August 2018, and I'll see you next time.